Welcome to the Screen Time Continuum. It is a wonderful, wonderful, super Sunday. Actually, it is going on here today. Uh,
Eh,
and we are here today bringing to you the KIMI 2002 HBO Max exclusive, apparently, movie. And here reviewing that today is myself, Keelan, Nick, and Mike. How you doing over there, Nick?
Hey man, and it's a 2022,
What
just
did I say?
2002.
Yeah,
Just
2002.
yeah.
I want to go
Same
back.
here.
Can you tell?
Oh, same
Take
thing.
take me back to a better age.
Took me up right away. Oh God. Sorry guys. If
A
anyone
simpler time.
doesn't
Simpler
understand why
time.
that would be a good thing, I'm old. I'll just leave it at that. I would
Hmm.
prefer 20 years ago. But yes, how you doing, fellas?
Oh, am I supposed to answer now? Is this my
Yeah.
part? Oh, my
Yeah.
bad.
You
Oh,
gotta
my
go.
bad. Yeah, doing okay. Hanging in there. Um, kind of peeking my head out the window, making sure LA doesn't go up in complete flames.
Isn't that what happens when joy strikes?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah,
Well,
we burn it all down.
I
right.
mean, you have like when the Lakers won, you almost had the city had to be rebuilt. So
But
I'm
no,
just waiting.
almost.
You know,
The first time they did have to rebuild it, there was nothing to burn down the second time because they were still building.
it's like the second Death Star.
That was
Yeah,
a
I'm
rough
just
3 years, right?
Mhm.
Man, I mean, now the second time around, it was all good. I think they handled it well when the 2010s came around, but not so well in the early 2000s. Um, but yeah, so speaking of which, techtechnology, oh man, it's
What
come
a
along since
cutaway!
2002. It's come along since 2002.
Yes, it has.
And here we are, 20 years removed from 2002 in 2022. And we are presenting to you the movie entitled Kimmy, which is currently on HBO Max, seemingly exclusive to HBO Max, which is a little bit surprising to me. I remember actually seeing this trailer, I'd say roughly 4 to 5 months ago, watching an HBO Max movie. And didn't really think much about it. Thought it came out and disappeared. Come to find out, it hadn't been released. I'm not sure if it had been pushed back or what it was that they had done, but they had changed some things. And here we are now, the Kimmy movie, 2002. It is directed by Steven Soderbergh, music by Cliff Martinez, who is also a former member of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, starring Zoe Kravitz and Rita Wilson as your main two characters. And Rita Wilson plays Chowder at the end. So there are many more people's. I know, right? I'm sorry. Maybe I'm not saying her name right, but
Andre.
Chowdry, right?
Chowder.
Chowder. Chowder. Sorry. Yeah, that's how my brain programmed it. Honestly, the whole movie, it was like I was reading Chowder. I promise. Um, so Zoe Kravitz, Erica Christensen, Jamie Camille, who honestly I just love seeing that dude and everything. He entertains me. I don't know why, but he does. Rita Wilson, Devin Rattray, Rattray, Jacob Vargas, which in my opinion, outside of Zoe Kravitz, is probably the most and Jamie Camille, which a lot of people, unless you watch like TV novellas and stuff like that, you may not have seen him. I think Jacob Vargas is the only real notable face outside of Zoe Kravitz, and he would be assassin number one, the Latin assassin guy with the glasses. Yeah, like that.
I think they were rocking. There's like little tech nogs in this. I wonder if he was rocking like gunner glasses. They're like just glasses you buy to block out like the blue light.
Mhm.
Ah, yeah, you never know. I mean, I'm sure there. Yeah, I'm with you. There were definitely different things that I know I could not identify, and I was like, I know that's a nod to somebody. Somebody knows what that's about. So I agree that this movie is littered with quite a few of those. Other people that I guess are somewhat notable: Byron Bowers and Andy Daly, which is the only other familiar face. I'm just gonna stop there. But this movie overall, it is a movie that is on HBO Max right now, and we're about to review. So,
Very, very diplomatic of you.
yes, indeed. It is a Warner Brother New Line Cinema flick. I'll say that. Anybody who was around, in 2002, as I was kind of, for whatever reason, thinking we were in that year, anyone around in 2002, you've seen a few New Line Cinema movies. You might know what we're in for. So this movie is about a tech worker with agoraphobia who discovers recorded evidence of a violent crime, but is met with resistance when she tries to report it. She's seeking justice and she must do the right thing as she must do the thing she fears the most, and she must leave her apartment.
Dun, dun, dun.
I want to say so much just about that. I also noticed that this doesn't happen in a lot of movies. It does happen in some movies, but the description on Wiki is miles different from the description on HBO Max. The description on HBO Max more so just lightens her to be a worker who stumbles upon this information and is trying to go through the right channels to do it and solve this issue. Nothing about her standing illness. So, with that being said, gentlemen, what are your initial impressions of this movie? Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Actually, before we get there, I just realized I probably should give a disclaimer. This movie is a 2022 movie. It literally came out February 10th, which was only 3 days ago. So, if you have not seen the KIMI movie, which is an HBO Max exclusive movie, you cannot see it anywhere else at the current moment. Please turn away now if you do not want to know what happens in that movie and or have anything spoiled for you. However, if you do not mind learning what happens in the KIMI movie, which is an HBO Max movie, no, they are not paying me to continue to say that. I am simply letting you know later on you're going to think to yourself, hey, maybe I want to see that KIMI movie. Where can I see it? It's even on the screen. HBO Max is literally the only place you can see it. And most movies we review aren't like in one singular places. Or it's, oh, wow, what is going on with me today? One singular place. So, again, if you are interested in anything having to do with the KIMI movie, or you just a Zoe Kravitz fan and you're going to participate and go and see this anyway, do yourself a favor, turn away now. But if you don't care about getting the information and you're still going to see it without any issue, stick around, see what we're talking about. We got a few things for you. With that being said, now I will move forward. Gentlemen, initial thoughts of this movie.
You want to go first?
No.
Okay. Underwhelming was just one word. Like some of the acting was bad in places. Dialogue's kind of bad. It tries to do like this Rear Window thing by Hitchcock, but does it worse. So there's no like enjoyability in watching that. Then it kind of changes. I don't know if you saw the movie in the 90s called Copycat, about a guy who becomes obsessed with the professor, and she also ends up being agoraphobic. And so it has like this whole sequence when she's being chased outside of her apartment. Tries to do that, but on like a bigger scale. Some of that sequence outside stuff was okay. And then you end up in like a weird was a movie Panic Room type situation near the end, and then it just kind of like ends. You're like, oh, all right, cool, I guess. If this was your whole thing the whole time, then why didn't you just start to do this from the beginning? Like, I guess there's a like the arc isn't really clearly defined for the main character. But yeah, it was just sort of underwhelming. Something that you can kill 90 minutes with. It's like,
Mm-hmm. For sure. Nick, what do you think?
I would say if you wanted to kill 90 minutes, you could probably do 1,010,000 things differently. But no, I mean, like, God, dude, where to start with this movie? So the first 51 minutes of this movie, this woman is in her house, and she is the most unlikable person I have ever seen put to the screen. Now, perhaps they were trying to do that on purpose. Maybe the director really wanted this character to be an insufferable person. But that shoots itself in the foot because you end up not giving a shit about anything that happens to her. So that's a little bit for me is the biggest flaw is in the main character themselves. Plus 51 minutes of just being in a house with somebody with not even real OCD, but actual Hollywood OCD and Hollywood agoraphobia. An agoraphobe would not be afraid to go out during COVID and then invite strange over to have sex. It wouldn't happen. Somebody who's actually agoraphobic and afraid of germs would never do that in a million years. So
they have all the fun conversations in the world, though.
Yeah, sure. But I don't know what they were doing with this character. We'll get into that. But yeah, I mean, and then again, we have to also say that this is set in COVID for some fucking reason, because it has to be, which I thought was just a weak premise to begin with. Why add it in the movie? It doesn't feel like it's necessary. Her reason for being agoraphobic was just, like COVID was just an attaché to that. It wasn't like she was supposed to be agoraphobic anyways. So, like you didn't need to have that. I just think it's bullshit. But yeah, movie's not great. Can't say that I loved it. I did try to give it the benefit of the doubt, and man.
I mean, hey, I can't tell. That's one of the best reviews, man. That sounds like a 10 to me.
It's a 10 out of 10.
No, indeed. I think once again we've run across one of those movies where wasn't what we expected. As it was going, we felt like it could have gotten really good at some points, and per the usual,
it had the potential.
Right.
I mean, there were certain elements like, okay, so we don't need to I'm not going to try to just jump to the end, but I would have been much more satisfied if this was all just some sort of psychosis that she was going through.
I thought it was.
I would have thought that would have been way better. Because the way, anyways, this movie has so many political messages that it's trying to tell the audience that it almost feels like political messages that had to be served to us through a movie. We want to get these points out, and how do we do that? Well, let's make a movie surrounding this type of character that would never exist in the real world. So that way we can push these points of view that we are just so obsessed with.
So she is a little close to engineers that you come across in tech and software engineers that you can find out in the real world. That's where it does get a little close, like that unlikability or like inability to interface. Yeah, actually,
reality.
Somebody
looks like Zoe Kravitz.
There might be a few.
Come on.
Some of them might.
There's a few colored haired techies out
Blue
there.
hair.
There wasn't so many 10, 15 years ago, maybe, but I know there's a few today. And I'm agreeing with you in the context of you're not gonna see a table full of them. No.
A model. That's coding.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about like the personality,
antisocial.
Yeah, and the just kind of bluntness and straightforwardness. Like there's not a lot of like good politeness. There's not a lot of politeness that happens with her, and that can be pretty accurate around the tech world.
I suppose that's probably fair enough, but then we get into that kind of a conversation that we had in a couple prior episodes. It's like, okay, so I understand you're wanting to make things realistic. First of all, I don't think that they did that in any meaningful way. But you also have to make your character likable in some way. You got to like him in some way. It doesn't have to be like a good heart, angel. No, she didn't. Did she call her mother back after that whole ordeal? No, she did not. She let her mother just think that
she hung up on every single person she was on the phone with.
Yeah.
It's so good. It was so funny. That therapist bit was hilarious to me.
The audacity of some little waif agoraphobe model, girl calling the guy upstairs doing hard manual labor and telling him to stop because
She owns that
why?
apartment.
Because she owns the building.
Yeah,
she
so I
must.
guess.
No,
Why?
only
How
one.
else would she be able
it
to
was
tell him to
never
stop?
once mentioned that she owned the building.
How else would she be able to tell him to stop?
Because this is just what the movie wants to tell us, is that this woman is awesome and she does everything that she wants. She's a boss woman,
Hey, like,
and
before you
she
say it again,
commands the peons to do what
I
she
gotta-
wants because she can't have noise.
I want to
There's
catch you before you
the
say it again.
Yeah.
She was not model-esque in this movie.
there was the
Okay,
like
but
they
she does not
dismiss
look
it.
like a coder. Come on,
I mean,
man.
she's an actress. We
They-
understand
Right.
that.
But
They
But
dismiss
I know
it.
exactly what you mean.
yeah.
They dismiss it with the quick little line of dialogue though that we agreed to this sort of sketch, because I guess she's supposed to be a bit OCD as well, like you were saying, like the Hollywood version of OCD.
Yeah, she.
But like I don't know what they should have talked about it more. Like, I'll call so and so to tell them that you broke the schedule or something other than like
Why
we
would she
agreed to
have
this
any
schedule.
right to halt a full construction crew of remodeling?
I wonder too if she also runs like the building's Wi-Fi,
She looks like
'Cause
she
she
has the
has-
whole
She has
server.
something.
yeah, she has a shit ton of tech in the back where it's like, this is more than just like a mesh
Well,
network
you
in
know,
your
she's
house
pulling
to
a
repeat
lot of
Wi-Fi.
electricity.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she don't care. She make that tech money.
But no, it
Oh,
seems
yeah.
it seems
Yeah.
like they own their own loft though, because she was saying that her father did her renovations and was giving him tips on how the renovations could be less noisy.
I bet it was okay for them to work, for her father to work to build her little place.
Oh yeah, I'm
That
sure she wasn't an
that she never
agoraphobe at that
complained
time.
about that.
Yeah, she wasn't an agoraphobe at that time. She was just a normal socialite working and living in a fancy little Seattle loft. Jeez.
Yeah, they
I don't know
do
what's
like.
going on today.
I do like that little bit of like the notion that it could have been all psychosis. Like, because then you start to like drift into Pi. Like, I got like vibes of Pi in this, which is an Aronofsky film, his first film, which deals with a similar kind of character. And it would have been great if like she found out that because of like the root canal that she never had, bacteria got into her brain and was causing
That's
like
exactly what I thought was going on.
Right.
And that would have been nice. It would have been interesting to explore because she's literally all alone in her head for the most part.
Cabin fever is a bitch.
Yeah, but they don't. They do none of that. And then the payoff is like a slap in the face. And I don't know if they mean that they're slapping the face to the audience, like, or if we're connecting to the main character and this guy slaps her, then you're slapping me. And then the payoff was not good enough to be a proper slap in the face. It's just, all right, I guess that's that.
Yeah, she had a toothache, so a man could put his hands on her.
I had no clue how that was. Oh, does your tooth hurt? I was like, whoa.
It might have done her a favor. Maybe she, maybe burst the abscess.
Well, I was okay. So I continuously thought with this toothache thing. There was so many things about this movie that were making it seem much more of a action sci-fi kind of a thing that was about like just sitting on the teetering on the edge of the highest peak of the roller coaster, just waiting to tip off and all the action.
Yeah, like a tech dystopian thriller.
Yeah.
And
it never happened. And I think because that never happened, that's where a lot of the confusion comes from, is you have all of these opportunities. And then when you finally do decide to give us some action, you give us what you gave us. And I've gotten more action in Alice in Wonderland. I'm sorry.
And those hitmen become like they went from extremely competent to like the most incompetent hit crew I've ever seen.
They Dextered a woman like in a full,
Legit.
Plastic room and
Legit.
murdered her. And then for this chick, they're like bumbling Home Alone burglars.
She's a tech. Oh, I like her already. What?
Yeah.
And then she has track block. Like, no, just because she works in tech doesn't make her a freaking genius.
Right.
Or make her a hacker.
Doesn't even make her that. If we're being, think about it. In today's world, it doesn't.
There's the only kind of
you can take that 3-week training course and learn how to use the same program.
Yeah. The only one message that I kind of did enjoy though was the what happens when you go through proper channels and how it can
Oh,
screw
yeah.
you
Oh
over
yeah.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
fine.
a
Yeah, that was
job in general.
yeah,
That's
that was
like
a fine commentary.
that was it. And then but the reasoning behind it all gets a little shaky. You start to
Yeah.
drift in political land. But if you just
Yeah.
take that little nugget out and put it
Mhm.
into like company world where like, yeah, if you're supposed to go through these channels, but more than likely you're gonna end up screwed for
Yeah,
taking it through
of
these
course.
channels.
Of
Exactly.
course. You know what my favorite lesson was from this movie?
Don't watch it.
No, it was
Ah.
that murder cures mental illness.
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
You know what? I like that. This is literally the second thing we've watched in the last 7 days that carries that that note. You know,
Yeah.
just a little murder will free you from
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
mental
The
illness.
other
for
one
sure.
was an absurdist cartoon, though. Let's be
Yeah.
fair.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But either way, two different writers clearly had the same thought, and two different producers signed off on it.
Mm,
You know?
Message.
man.
Something's going on.
I don't know. Do you guys think that she was supposed to be that unlikable, or do you think
Yes.
that they thought she was like sympathetic?
No, I think
Because
she was
I'm
supposed
mixed
to be
about this.
unlikable. And we were supposed to get this notion that although she's unlikable, she doesn't want to be unlikable. She was once likable. And she's trying to make her way back to being that person.
So
And
yeah,
it was that I didn't like that at all.
I think she's supposed to be like the asshole with gold, the asshole with a heart of gold type
Mhm.
character, like
Okay.
the person you like's unlikable, but you still root for him. You care there's some enjoyable, like a Dr. Cox in Scrubs, right?
Mhm.
Like they
I love
still,
Dr. Cox and Scrubs. Go ahead, I'm listening.
yeah, it's great, right?
Well, they did their
But
job.
they failed it. Yeah, they did their job well. They took all like when shit like there's something redeemable about that character.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
But with this character, even the redeemable parts are kind of like meh. Like it doesn't really flesh it out well, you know.
Fair enough.
See, I'm a little bit. I feel I agree with you guys, but I'm a little bit cynical, I guess, because I do believe that they think that this is like a powerful woman character.
I think
I really do. I really think that they believe that.
Damn.
so. There's other like even that really doesn't get across that well though, because there's other movies that
Kimmy
do
would
it
be the
better.
powerful woman character in this, in my opinion.
There's like, yeah, you have antagonists in this movie that are also powerful women. So you compare the main character to them, and I guess there's supposed to be something because she overcomes her mental illness, but there's no, or supposedly overcomes it. I like to think of it as a coming of age tale about a sociopath.
Yeah, in a way.
I
And
just
and
found
really
out that
quick,
she loves murdering.
Yeah,
right. In a sense, yeah, for real. And the thing about her supposedly curing, and then I'll run through a quick version of what happens. But the weird thing to me about her curing of her mental ailment is it's not really a curing. Like agoraphobia is basically an extremely severe amount of like level of anxiety. So
Mhm.
you only stick to the things you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't state that she's cured. It would mean that she's become comfortable with this person that knows she just murdered 3 people.
Yeah, if anything, murdering 3 people might make her more agoraphobic, to be
Right.
honest, because it
Now
might
you
drive
don't.
you deeper into
Mhm.
your comfort
You have
zone.
secrets and you have things to hold from people now. And people are going to be afraid of you because you're
well,
capable of taking a life.
Right.
it's like though she's so you trace the trauma back to the Evergreen thing where she's assaulted, and that's what you
Right.
find out,
Right.
right?
Or that's what. Yeah.
And then her being chased to the office builds upon that with the final conclusion of her straight up hitmanning 3 people with a nail gun.
Mhm.
And that I feel like would still build upon that trauma. That's not like a Batman moment where you own your trauma. You've defeated the people that assaulted you, and now you've become a vigilante, right? Like it's not. It doesn't feel like that would do that sort of thing. It feels like it would compound the trauma to the point where you're more agoraphobic.
Yeah.
And then you get like the whole wardrobe change thing, which is a little weird. Like,
Yeah.
here, let me stand up for coders for a second. There's fucking nothing wrong with sweats and a hoodie and going outside. All right.
No, but
You don't
she's
need to put on a
cured now.
dress
She's
and
got
a
pink
fucking
hair and a
cardigan
dress.
or
Am I? Yeah.
something. Yeah.
No. This is where Nick's argument about her appearance is golden, and there's no refuting it from that scene alone.
Hey,
That's
man.
where, like, honestly, Nick, that and honestly, something else I found very interesting. So being agoraphobic also I just never read deep enough into certain books, even though I seem to have read enough, right? I never knew it had anything to do with germophobia and this excessive cleaning of oneself. That was new for me.
Which is
So I'm
inconsistent with her having sex with a random person and touching things when she's outside. Like,
right. And that's what I was thinking. I'm like, but if that's the case, then how would you, like, you would never be outside. Anything that happened when those people came to you and they touched you and they got into your home, you would have freaked out so bad. There's no way you would have been able to defend yourself because the anxiety would have crippled you.
yeah, it'd be the Sheldon meme with the, Lysol when he's like got it over, his shirt over his nose and he's spraying Lysol. Like, that's something who is actually a germaphobe would do. Like, they would just follow you with Lysol and just, clean everything that you might have touched.
Yeah. So I just feel like, they did that, but there were just so many different. And again,
this is a millennial / Zoomer mental illness where it's a mental illness, but it's also kind of an identity. And
I found out this
maybe a
thing
little bit of a
exists,
social contagion,
I thought that was being reclusive. Did we have a word for that already?
But that's my thing is like, look, if you want to really make this about the mental illness, then it would have been a lot harder for her to overcome that stuff. And
that would make it a more interesting movie.
Yeah.
I didn't think at first. I didn't even realize.
But it's an accessory. It's an accessory. They're using her agoraphobia and OCD as an accessory to color her character. Those shouldn't be character traits.
Yeah.
So or at least express it more in the cinematography. Like, really try to drive it home that it's like she's never gotten out of it. Like, they do that a little bit when she gets outside with like some of the tilts and some of like the shaky hand camera thing. Or all of a sudden it feels like you're watching Cloverfield or something.
Yeah.
But you can,
like, you were inside her anxiety with her.
Yeah. But if you look at something like Requiem for a Dream, where the drug use becomes a character trait. Again, going back to Aronofsky, he visually builds a routine around the drug use. So if you did the same thing with like her medication or even and like they kind of do it, but not in a way that sticks out to you. Like it's just different angles of her like brushing her teeth. Like, you have to stick it in there that like you have to be OCD about your camera angles. You have to make sure that it's repetitive in the same way that her actions are repetitive. And then you maybe start to get across the feel, but this again just kind of falls flat on its face and it becomes like a throwaway thing at the end where you're just like,
I'm all better now.
Right. Yeah.
How's that tooth?
Right. I think the tooth got better and everything at the end, but I do think the best scene of showing how the anxiety crippled, like how it was affecting her, was early in the movie when she agreed to meet the neighbor for 12 minutes, and you see him get ready, do everything he needs to. He gets downstairs, but you still see her in the shower scrubbing. And then you see her basically on this slow path or seemingly slow path to trying to make it out of the door. And yes, she surpasses the 12 minutes, but I think she only was outside of the window of 12 minutes by like 2-3 minutes, because he got down there pretty fast and waited on her for quite some time. And by the time he thought to contact her, I think that was when we finally hit the 12 minutes. So for some of us, 12 minutes is 12 minutes. And then for people who are going through things like that, 12 minutes could be an hour, depending on what you're going through.
If you're running on Mexican people time. 12 minutes is 24 minutes in Mexican people time. Let me tell you.
There you go. Well, also, if she was very concerned about catching anything, she shouldn't be wearing the thinnest of cloth masks I have ever seen. So thin because they don't want to obstruct the facial symmetry of Zoe Kravitz. So they literally put I think they cut a t-shirt.
Yeah, because all of a sudden we're gonna think she's ugly or something.
But they had to be very thin, and it had to cover it had to contour to the jaw, and that's not even a real mask. It's literally a piece of cloth.
That is one of her stronger features, though, so I get it.
So if you want to do this whole agoraphobe, it would have been interesting. She finds the data, right? And then her like the whole downward spiral of COVID, so like supposed to, I guess, add on to her germophobia and all that. But like her comparing it with the assault drives a downward spiral down even further. But then she can reach out to the FBI. She does that, and she gets like the case solved. And it's probably there's no action in this. It's much more like a psychological thriller at this point, though. But she gets it over to the FBI. You have a bit of conflict with the company coming over and trying to resolve it all. She never finds out, kind of like in this movie, she doesn't find out who it is until the end, which is fine by me. And you could have hit that better from the audience. Then you have at least a good psychological thriller where you have the story of a woman overcoming her past trauma by taking the right steps and notifying the FBI and doing all the things she needs to do. And then maybe at the end of the movie, she, instead of showing her like outside proper, you just see the door open and she steps out of the fucking door and closes it. That to me would, yeah, you have a full fucking arc there, and it's completely fine and it works well and it works on a cerebral level rather than what you get with this mess.
Well, there's no excitement in telling the story quickly, is it?
I think the expectation for disbelief suspension was just a little bit too high.
They really thought they had us in a form of psychosis, but that's a different way to explain it.
Oh man, now I'm remembering the things I don't like.
So wait, really quick, while you just because let's
go for
top
it.
to bottom, get that out the way, and because I'm almost on the verge of just like look.
We can just shit on it for an hour.
Terrible, effing terrible. No, but there are plenty of positive things to take away as well. That's why I want to get the story part, because the story isn't bad in my opinion. It's the execution.
Hold up, pause. 51 minutes of her just in her house. 51 minutes.
The story wasn't bad. The execution of the story,
I guess,
whole different problem.
Right.
But yeah, so story just starts. We see Brad Lee. But we see Brad. Brad is the CEO of a company who is called Amygdala. And Amygdala has a device named KIMI. The KIMI device is compared to Siri and Alexa. And it is not to necessarily just serve you, but to learn you and allow the Amygdala company to serve you better. Ultron. We meet Angela. Angela is what do we call her? So they say she's a
debugger.
She's a KIMI debugger. I think that's right.
Is like an integration tech or some shit like that. But in close, she handles bugs and writes in some interpreted language. But then I guess updates the KIMI system in a really, really fucking odd way. But sure. That's how that gets.
It seemed very simple. It seemed like I could do that job.
Right. And that's what I was kind of getting to earlier about the way they set it up. It's like, I don't think it's that hard at this point, or at that point they're setting it up at.
Nobody on that fucking research writing team looked at an AI book. Let me tell you that. No one looked at machine learning. No, and they were just like, this is what we think.
Just put it in brackets, bro. Just put it in brackets and put an equal sign.
Yeah, if you have the word me, obviously that implies a song, which implies Taylor Swift. There's no other songs called Me by any other artist. And if you say the word me, you're not talking about me, you're talking about Taylor Swift. Obviously. But continue,
that was actually one of the stupider mess ups to me, because the little girl was being very specific.
Yeah.
Very ultra specific. Like, come on, if Siri had that kind of an issue, they never would have made it this far. But exactly so, Angela finds a recording that somehow, through all of the techno rock music that's been layered over the sound, she hears a lady crying and struggling, and she taps that out because she has these ultra cool noise canceling headphones that allow her to hear, the drop of a pin in the middle of a fucking Red Hot Chili Peppers and Kiss battle.
And then she plugged it into like a old school I don't know,
Oh, that I thought
Zappa
that was.
machine.
I thought that was
like
freaking
toggling
hilarious.
different levels.
I
like
thought
if
that was
you
so
would have
hilarious.
just have like an internal monologue going to with some bullshit about what she thinks she's doing or trying to achieve,
Or we
that would
find out
help
maybe
that
she
scene.
used to be like a musician or something. Like, is there a
And
reason
then
she understands
in
sound? Because that's not just tech. That's
right
Or
sound
like yeah,
engineering.
so like in tech work you have this thing called a lot of companies use it called Confluence. It's like a intranet page thing, like a wiki, but for your work.
Mhm.
You could have had something like that in the movie where she pulls it up where it's like isolate voice, because that I could see that coming up. Yeah, something. Well, instructions for telling her how to do the thing that she's attempting to do.
Right.
And then maybe she has a little bit more audio engineering knowledge where she has this giant fucking piece of hardware. Or maybe the job gave it to her. Maybe it's like
Yeah.
she's a senior
Know them
tech
needs to
and
mix
they're
it in
like,
or something.
yeah, like this is how you actually pull audio out. Whatever. Something just to let us to make it look like she's doing something more than just playing with knobs.
Right.
She's like a roadie at a Skrillex concert.
Now that's hilarious. Oh, you think you twisting knobs is doing
Yeah,
something, bro?
yeah.
He recorded. Do you see his hands?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
see his
exactly.
hands?
Honestly, dude, like I don't know how she did it, but she managed to get a man's voice out of out of a sound clip where not even a hint of a man's voice was present.
You were only trying to find the woman's voice, and somehow you got.
And then the
shut up,
sentence,
bitch. What?
"Shut your mouth, bitch."
And you can just
perfectly crystal
So
clear.
you
way
can just use
clearer.
a scream. That's all you need is a scream, and that's it. A blood curdling scream, and you would have been fine.
Just remember, the scream was and that was clear to shut up, bitch. What? Like where? What did he
It came out of nowhere, bro.
Did he
She
run over to the
literally
Kim
turned
Kardashian
some
and,
knobs and it just like popped up
Hey,
out of nowhere.
You know, it would have been great if she like does all this work, and then at the end you find out it's just roller coaster of love. It's just that scream.
Yeah. Well, see, and that's why I thought it could have been like a psychological thing where she was going crazy because, like, you didn't, as an audience member, you did not hear the man's voice.
Yeah.
In that recording until she did all the tinkering and the knob turning, and then all of a sudden it's like crystal clear with no other noise, and it's like, wait, what?
And you already have the bacteria.
And think about how long. Well, yeah, exactly. The bacteria would have gotten in there. See, Mike and I have that theory. I think both of us came to that theory after we heard about the root canal, because I came to the same theory. Like, oh yeah, the bacteria is definitely fucking with her. She's hallucinating. But I think the thing is, even before she clears that up, like she's already ran with it. And that's why I was like, yeah, okay, maybe she's making this shit up in her head. Because she had run so far with it before she had any information. She had already sent it to Darius and asked him for a code. And he done created a whole new login. And she done contacted, what's her name? Chowder? I'm not going to, I'm sorry. I kept reading it and I kept getting it wrong. So I'm not going to act like I'm not going to get it wrong right now. But trying to contact her. And then even when she gets that far. So once she starts going through that, she goes through and she gets the clear sounds. We just get taken on, like you guys said a little earlier. I wouldn't even call it an emotional roller coaster, but did you say earlier, Nick, a political roller coaster?
No, I never used the word roller coaster.
Somebody used the word roller coaster.
I don't know.
Oh, that was you. You're like, you were hoping that it was like a sci-fi thriller
That's
thing,
right. Yeah.
where you were like on the very top, and then we got to see like some cool roller coaster instead of like whatever the hell we got.
Yeah, you're right. It never went over the edge. That was me bringing up roller coasters. So yeah, that's me, I guess, repeating my previous point then.
It's called reinforcement. Don't worry.
Good job.
No, yeah, not repetition.
Teamwork.
A rhetorical device used to get a point across.
The entire premise for this, for me, from that file being trash, her pulling out whatever the hell she pulled out, like, I mean, if she can do that, can we go and get her put on some music that we can get properly mixed back in the 70s and the 80s and fix some shit?
She could be remastering stuff.
Yeah, she could really, yeah, for real. She could be fixing a lot of great audio that got fucked up over time.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying, that's a way more important job than teaching fucking KIMI.
Well, I like that she heard a noise on a recording and then basically got like extra extra top clearance access to the not just the name of the person, but the entire profile of the person through a spoofed admin like code. Like what the fuck?
Hey, that's when you're in.
that
That's
was-
when you're in tight with IT. Darius was dope.
Yeah,
like-
he was fine.
But I also think that was the point of what Brad was, why he had the lady killed from the beginning. Is she was making that clear, like, yo, anybody can hack this shit. Like, it's not what you're making it seem like it is.
She violated like several laws doing that.
Oh, I'm sure. The lady who found out had to violate a few laws, figuring it out, and they didn't have to kill her. They could have prosecuted her legally. And the same thing with Angela.
Like,
I don't
all
think
this-
she's the hero in this. I think she's as much of a criminal as them.
all of this just seems like it would be taken care of very quietly with a civil lawsuit, and then you just walk away from the situation, and your IPO still launches fine. You're completely
yeah.
okay.
Oh, you think only one body? Never mind, not doing that.
Like the other thing though is like this is your fucking product, and you don't check the logs of your own product.
No.
No, why would I do that?
What?
I just hire assassins and killers who apparently suck at their job and take my entire life savings and then get locked up in prison.
That is what happened.
Not realistic, not realistic at all. You don't have that kind of money and continue to get extorted and then end up in fucking prison. Freaking prison. That's just. I mean, I get it. It's a movie, and I guess you're trying to change the rhetoric or the norm of how that plays out in movies, but why show us how it plays out in real life? We already know that part. And guess what? In real life, nobody really goes bankrupt. Like,
well, and this is my gripe too. It's like, okay, I understand that we need to suspend some disbelief because it's a movie, and we need to be a little bit more, like kind with our sort of critique. But this movie also tried to be so steeped in the real world, like with all of the politics and the conditions of COVID and all of that stuff. Like,
and the sex, yes.
It was no escapism. It wasn't actually escapism. It was just kind of reminding me of how shitty, the last couple of years were, which is a fine thing to do if you wanted to do that. But I don't know if that's what they wanted to do per se.
And like, you have to earn that suspension of disbelief. It's not like I'm going to go sit down. You could show me anything. I'm like, oh yeah, no, that's how that world works. Sure. Right. You have to earn it in a way. And then once you earn it, you have to keep it. But the second you lose it, it becomes exponentially harder to get back the same level of disbelief.
Right.
Or suspension of disbelief. I'm sorry. So it's like, yeah, this movie earned it for a little bit and then loses it completely.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're just here like, all right, now I'm my brain's figuring out all like the bad logic within the film.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you guys think Darius was still on lockdown?
Romania?
Yeah. No. It seemed like it.
No. Eastern Europeans don't do lockdown.
He's just a computer guy. I like it. He's just drinking. He's just like...
Are you drunk? Yes.
Of course not.
Fake hotness.
Oh, this is Romania. Me Too is not coming for another 50 years.
50
Don't
years.
worry about it.
Hilarious.
See, that's where she's
and possibly true.
So you get a little bit of likability from her because she's just like, you got to stop saying that shit. Like, I'm not gonna report you, but somebody's gonna fucking report you. That's where she's like she's at least shows a little bit of
she's the black girl who lets the white
other...
guy say the N-word at work.
Well, which is fine and well if she was tone policing him, but then she treats everybody like an absolute dick. Yeah. I mean, like, she is not nice to any of the people. Because not even the guy that she has sex with.
Who would be allowed to tone police her other than her mother, who she clearly doesn't respect?
And she wasn't even allowed to do that. Her mom couldn't even tone police.
That's what I'm saying. She clearly doesn't respect.
Right.
Well, her mom too doesn't seem like the most likable person either.
Her mom
is sick of her shit. That's what it is. That's a
the
mom that's sick of your overly dramatic daughter always staying at home.
We got one scene with her. I was just thinking the unlikability thing just ran in the family.
Nah, I think I got the exacerbated parent that was just tired of her daughter's shit. Because like she even tried to like correct herself and then she was still treated like crap. And then she stopped taking her phone calls. She stopped answering her FaceTime. It's like, I mean, like even your mom doesn't like you, dude.
Yeah, there's a lot of kids whose moms don't like them.
Yeah. But then they usually have other people that like them. So, but she's
This
not
is
liked
true.
by
She's
anybody.
not. Yeah, she doesn't seem like it at all.
Yeah, another thing I didn't like once Darius like is like this is the last favor I'll do for you or something. I just didn't believe that. I feel like those
Yeah.
are two like unlikable people that get along because they're equally unlikable and say fucked
Right.
up things.
But he said she was weird even for him. That's why I believed it. I mean, think about it. The dude who's blowing her back out didn't even like her.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
he had sex with her, went home angry at himself for having sex with her, and when she invited him over to have sex the next time, he goes, "I'm at work. I'll think about it. I'll call you later."
Yeah.
Well, I think so going back to like this fucking weird political agenda is like he just didn't understand her
Yeah.
her OCD-ness.
Her
And he should have
awesomeness.
been
He
more
didn't
polite.
appreciate her.
He didn't understand her literally bussing and getting up, putting on her underpants, and taking the sheets off the bed while he's literally trying to have a discussion with her. He didn't
Yeah.
understand that, huh?
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, he didn't kiss the ground that she walked on while she did it. That's
Oh,
the
she
problem.
definitely would not have let him put her face back on her. You know what I'm talking about? If he kissed the ground.
I mean, she let him slam her after he was just out in the city. Come on.
This is true.
It's the lack of the middle ground there where like you understand why he leaves and why he doesn't come back. But at the end somehow he still shows up with flowers.
Because she's awesome, and he finally figured out how awesome she was.
Do you know how hard it is for a man to find a woman in the world today? You better take that woman. She spoke to you. She looked at you long enough.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
You take her to the egg sandwich truck in the morning.
You thank God.
You're telling me that a DA prosecutor can't find somebody else?
Hell no. Who he gonna find?
Ghostbusters? No.
A mentally healthy person, maybe.
Nah. He gonna have to lock them up eventually. At least with her, she's the one turning people in. So know they on the same page.
Yeah, so like it's fine that
she just killed 3 people and had a lawyer at her door.
Yeah, right. And he's just okay with it. He's like, "Oh, you did what you had to do. I understand." But you still have to build that moment of him bringing her you just can't do it after you show me a scene with him being frustrated about it, right? Like, show me something in between where. Like she fucking.
They did. He was gonna walk to the corner store and then he walked back for some reason.
Yeah, he was like, forgot my Coca-Cola or something. Forgot the flowers. I guess. Show me some interaction where like it actually makes sense why he would want to like try again.
Yeah. No. He doesn't.
Look, what you don't know is that thing is. Yeah, I'm talking about like.
Yeah. We had 90 pages of script here. We had 90 minutes. You had an extra 20 minutes. You have 110 minutes to work with something. 110 pages.
One job.
We hit 90 pages. You could have added a fucking 2 pages where they talk to each other and decide to try to like rebuild something. You know?
No. Because
then she'd have to be reasonable.
He just needs to accept everything that she is, murderer and all. And now that he's accepted how great she is and how good she is at murdering, they can have a copacetic relationship.
Hold on. Having a girlfriend murderer might be a good thing in certain cases.
That sounds like a BuzzFeed article. Your girlfriend's a murderer? Here's why that's a good thing.
Oh, man. Now you found out my Moonlight gig. Shit.
Oh, no.
Oh, man.
Man, so I'm trying to think, where would we be at this point?
She goes outside and she finally has
that's pretty much
run away from the henchman.
And she has to make that phone call and get in contact with Chowder.
So basically, she has all the information. She's gotten out. She knows that they're after her at this point. No, excuse me. She hadn't quite figured out they were after her, and she goes to tell the lady at corporate. I'm sorry. Did you not realize that you just listened to the full hidden database recordings of this lady's logs, and all of a sudden you're getting a call to come to the office?
And why does the office have a wind curtain inside a tube?
Yeah, I didn't really understand anything. I guess that's for sanitation purposes.
It does nothing. It's just a puff of air.
Dude, just like the prosecutor's curtains, like he closes them all angrily and they're so thin.
They're so see-through.
See straight through them. You can still see the veins in his legs,
Like,
like skinny jeans.
what's the point of those fucking curtains then?
To keep the raccoons from trying to climb through the window.
There you go.
They don't see anything on the other side, so I don't think there's anything to come for.
Just makes you a sexier silhouette. That's all.
Those are silhouette curtains. That
You're right. Yeah.
How many people are on this set? I wonder how, because somebody in the crew was like,
I will say one thing positive about this movie is that they use very good cameras to shoot it.
Oh,
because you could tell that the cameras were actually like really good quality.
I think they shot this in 4K.
Yeah, I mean, whatever they used, I don't know per se, but I could tell that it was like really good.
120 frames per second. No, I'm joking.
At the end, you just see made on Apple iPhone.
Yeah. Hey, I'd be impressed if that was an iPhone for sure.
You might be able to get 90 frames per second at least shooting on the iPhone.
Yeah, some of the newer ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know what cameras they use, but it looked okay. I feel like though, as like a stylistic choice, it would have been cool to go with like, maybe this is just fucking, just to go low grade, go iPhones, go, because it's like this tech story, right? And it's sort of like girl overcome. Maybe at the very end you get like the upgraded cameras to show that she has an upgraded life. But like you use like that to build in like the agoraphobia, all the shit happening, and it's
you just little tech world. So let me tell you what you said and how that made it work in my head. So you just said basically to me that it would be cool if Kimmy could tap into the security systems and we had watched the movie through the footage that she was able to show us.
Yeah,
that would have been
fucking some element of that would have been nice. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that'd have been pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like. There were certain lighting choices that I thought were kind of nice. I liked some of the lighting in the shots where I was like, "Oh, that looks nice." But oh boy,
I did not like the cinematography at all. To be honest with you,
the choice of shots, not so much. I didn't like. It's interesting, Nick. You brought up lighting. The lighting when. I don't remember the neighbor from across the street. Not Kevin, not the guy who got stabbed, but the black guy that she was sexing with. I don't remember his name, so I'm just gonna say the guy she was sleeping with.
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange or DA Strange.
DA Strange.
I didn't care for the lighting they used when they were in the same room. Now the last shot with them, yeah, but that first one, the lighting was very hard on my eyes for whatever reason. I was really questioning if something was wrong with my TV. So it's interesting you mentioned the lighting because other than that one scene, I actually did appreciate the majority of the lighting, but certain things and people are harder to light than others. So, hey.
Well, yeah, they made that one dim. I think, especially
trying to make it sexy.
Well, yeah, and there was nudity involved, so they didn't want high res 4K, all the lights on.
Oh, you see light skin side boob. I mean.
Yeah,
it's not like she's not complaining. Look, I ain't complaining, but it's not like she running around with like double D's or nothing. Oh my God, those are in our face. Like, come on, guys. If you're gonna have nudity, just have nudity. Grow up,
or don't. That's fine too.
Or don't. Like, I'm not really begging for it. Who cares?
I think it was supposed to be like artsy softcore, fucking Skinamax type shit.
Skinamax does it 10 times better, so I need them to just.
I didn't say it was good. I'm just trying to understand the artist's intention.
Oh, I understand. I just figure Skinamax been doing it for like 40 years. They got to be doing it 10 times better. Just let them keep it.
Yeah.
Look, like people pay for that still, so I don't get it.
And some of those, don't ask me. Some of those shots, like if you would have just moved the camera a couple inches up, down, left, or right, something,
or finished film school.
You would have had like something, dude. You would have had a better fucking shot. And it's like, especially when she's sitting on the floor, like when she's processing that she has this data, like right where Chowder, I think it's Chowder that calls her. I'm just gonna call her Chowder because it's a fucking better name to me. So she's like at the baseboard of the footboard, whatever the fuck is called, of the bed. And all you got to do is tilt the camera like this, like a little bit higher. Or fucking, if you're using a big one, like just tilt it up a little bit. You would have had like the nice lights in the corner.
Right.
Had a nice little triangle in the bed. Would have been great. But no, instead it's like
tight shot.
Oh, fucking God.
You got to be right here with it.
Yeah.
Right.
And at
Right
a
there.
downer,
There you go.
at like a downer angle, or like downward angle.
Let
A
me
little
see
bit.
if I
Yeah.
see if I
And
can
I'm like,
get
what? Am I supposed to construe that she's powerless here? Like,
right there.
don't
Yes.
That's the
Yeah.
angle. Hey, go
you
back.
just all right. You just had this scene though where like you showed me she discovered this evidence, and now you're telling me she's powerless? I don't. And then she picks up the phone call to talk to the person where she's supposed to turn this in. Like,
Right.
if you're just supposed to be an overwhelmed thing, then you just go, like I said, like just flat with the person. You don't do a fucking downward angle showing powerlessness. You do a nice aesthetic angle and let the actor's emotion come out.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, your agoraphobia. Your agoraphobia still would not allow you to. Okay, I'm bringing them to you. Nah, I told you I sent them to you in an email. I'm not sure what you expect from me.
Mm-hmm. Well, but this is the thing. Here we go again with this like weird message that they're trying to say. It's because she was a victim of sexual assault. Her motive to save a woman from sexual assault was so strong that it brought her out of her agoraphobia, and that's why she left the house. Like it's really loose and really shoddy, but that is the absolute reasoning.
But
That's
it
the
didn't bring
reasoning.
her. It didn't make her motivated enough to write a fucking written report and email it.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Not motivated enough to do the right thing, but
You
Right.
you keep calling, you do the written report, I get from like a coder's point of view where like you don't want to do documentation and like the written report sort of thing, but that's not explained at all. Like that's not, you have to say something about why this character is motivated to not do the report. Like if it's in her mind such a big, this is why I think it needed internal monologue, but it's such a big thing to her to actually physically be there, express that in some way. You know, because like it through the repetitious calls, to me, that's just her OCD coming out. That's not her feeling motivated from her trauma.
Right.
And that's where Chowdhury is kind of berating her about her mental health becomes valid, because you're literally getting berated about your mental health. You don't realize how many hasty actions you've taken over the last, say, 16 hours. To add, you literally just looked up, saw somebody not at their desk, saw two people walking down the hallway, and because they looked at you, they must be coming for you. Now that's all validated later, but in
It
the
was a
moment,
wild guess.
super wild guess.
But you know
We
why though?
locked
It's because they were doing their henchman walk while they were walking down the corridor.
No, she had superpowers. She saw in her third eye, her mind's eye, what they look like while she was listening to that shit.
You're
what
right.
they're
Yeah,
hearing.
That's
she
right.
was
And then
saw
she
them.
recognized that it was them.
Right,
then
because
booked
that's
it
how
out of
that
there.
works. Right. Yes.
absolutely.
That's
What
exactly
happened.
how that works. I forgot.
Can't
what
stand
happened.
when fucking movies do that, dude.
And
It's like,
it's crazy because we can't even argue that that's what happened, because that's literally
That's exactly
how
what
they
happened.
had it happen.
like, oh, the audience seen it, so the main
So
character
the
does.
character
But,
knows it.
yeah,
And
but not
and
this
just
whole Brad thing. They don't
and
know
so-
about that.
right, nothing about the Brad thing, and that's
Even
it.
though
So
that was the first scene.
at that point, I was actually assuming we were gonna get a little deeper into the Brad thing, right? But instead, we see Brad and we meet Rivas, which again, I like the actor, so it was kind of funny and like hilarious, like to me, and cool to see him in there. Like, okay, he's playing the king assassin, so to speak, like Ra's al Ghul type. But why? Why did we have to meet him? One, two. What was his benefit? Because he's not like he was anything better than the henchman he sent.
He was
And
definitely not
apparently,
better.
right. And apparently the guy he had to pay all the extra money, who's supposed to be the biggest, baddest, all
Didn't
his
even do
job to do
anything.
was to track her.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah. I thought we were gonna get. I thought we were gonna get it like an El Duce scene from like Boondocks, where like the mafia gets like the most dangerous hitman, But it's just a dude that has a few monitors
and lives with his mom in a 1-bedroom apartment.
Right.
It's
Or
like
studio
if you got like Ant-Man before he becomes Ant-Man and like his little crew, and they were the ones assassinating this girl.
Yeah.
Not, but that's not what the movie builds these assassins up to be at all.
Yeah. They
You don't think this
started
is a
off as killers, as Dexter, and then they went to like hijinks.
Hardcore corporate cleaners. That's what he said, right? We're corporate cleaners.
Yes. Until a woman gets into her crawl space, and then we become what's it called? Home Alone bandits.
Right.
The sticky bandits.
Yes.
Well, keep in mind also that they snatched her off the FBI doorstep, so they're that talented.
Well,
I
yeah,
did
and
like
remember that the
I did like the
protesters
umbrella.
saved her.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
the
the
protesters
fantastic
saved her. That
Social
had
justice.
Stop the sweep! Stop the sweep!
Hey, kidnapping!
Yeah.
What?
Is that what they were shot? I had no idea what the
Yeah.
hell they were
It's
chanting.
the kidnapping. He's kidnapping her. I promise you, I turned just like that Russell Westbrook meme. What? Tripping.
And they did surprisingly little damage. I mean, if you were in an angry mob that saw somebody being kidnapped, I'm pretty sure that van would be destroyed.
Dude,
I'm pretty sure all the dude had to do is put his foot on the gas pedal.
That part.
It would have been
Yeah,
over.
I'm pretty sure if I'm kidnapping somebody, I'm running over 2 or 3 people to get out of here.
Exactly. You've done it.
Why would I have
no.
remorse for you? And that's where I had an issue with that was we had a second where it seemed like that character, that assassin, the Latin assassin, was going to have this moment of humanity and help her or let her go. And it was like, nah, you just wanted us to know that he's a human being who kills people.
Mm-hmm. Well, and they tried to do that again a little bit later when he puts down the knife.
Yeah.
And then the camera looks at it like, oh, do you see this? You see this?
Oh, yeah.
And it's almost like you think that it's because he's going to, like, you know, help them, but it's not. It's just a device for the other guy to get it, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, for
Which
real quick, can we talk about that orange hoodie? I really like that orange hoodie.
You are hilarious.
Was it orange?
It is a nice orange hoodie, though.
Yeah, it was a burnt orange hoodie.
You're gonna have to dye your hair. You have to grow your hair and dye it
blue,
teal.
What if
aqua?
That sounds like something I've done in the past life.
Aqua Cois blue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, like it becomes like it just becomes a little bit too unbelievable that all this shit happens. Like these assassins fuck us. She goes out, like she has that information, right? She goes to corporate, they chase her. She goes outside and then tries to find the FBI thing, but comes across the protest that's happening outside of the police station. I don't even know where that protest is happening.
Yeah.
I thought she was at the FBI office when she got to the protest, and I was like, "Oh shit, what's happening here?" But no. But then
the protest was up the street from them.
And all the protesters are perfectly staggered, going like this. Yeah. it's so funny. They look like NPCs.
Yeah, I know. They save her, and then she runs away from them.
Yes, and while they're chanting too, which was very weird cut because like she runs away. And it's just you keep hearing the chant over and over, but like nobody's saying like, "Hey, are you okay?" Nothing like that.
Why would they care if she's okay? What's wrong with you?
Well, they tried to. They freed her. They let her.
They were kidnapping her for their cause. She was supposed to come over there and hold on.
Okay, that's right. They were going to give her Molotov cocktails.
That's right. Like, hey, you have on a hoodie. We need you. Come here.
It's like how and then they drop it too. Like the assassins get away. The protesters never figure out what happened. She runs away. What the fuck is going on?
Oh, no. Okay, so how about this? She gets away. They get her. Her neighbor gets stabbed. Yes. He survives that, and he like, okay, cool. You survived being stabbed. He figures out how to help. She does all the running around and habada she does. Kills them with a nail gun. Okay, fine. Let's stop there. How calm do you have to be to call 911? Have KIMI call 911 and tell the lady that someone broke in and you have 3 dead bodies while you're getting flowers, and all of a sudden you're shocked.
Also, flowers. I'm gonna call a little bit of bullshit on the nail gun thing. So like that's a cordless nail gun, and it wasn't connected to any sort of like air pressure, which they have those, but I'm not exactly sure how strong they are.
Here, watch this. You want to know what those sound like in adverse to the one she had in her hand? The one she had in her hand would need an air hose on it. And it sounds like the one that you're talking about sounds like
that's the whole because it has like a battery powered motor or something.
Exactly.
Yeah. And they're also 5 pounds. I looked it up because I was looking at. I'm like, this just doesn't feel right because I have a nail
Oh,
gun.
yeah, they're super heavy. They are not
Dude,
like.
I have a
Past
nail
the
gun.
point of
But
no return for that suspension of disbelief. You're like, fucking, let me look up some specs of the nail gun.
You're
yeah,
not
If
doing
I
this with
pause
it.
this movie, let's see, that's the serial code. Let's bring this. That's not how that fucking works.
it's not how it works. Damn
You
it.
got me.
And I'm pretty sure you can't just duct tape back the
No.
the slide. Like I don't
The
think that
safety
works
thing,
either.
That's supposed to like, when you press down.
But she's super smart and she knows these things, guys.
That's right.
Remember, she's
like-
in the business as the guy.
She's
asked
just good
her.
at everything, obviously.
So like you compare,
It's like being a good person.
she's supposed to be like a badass when she calls 911, right? That's the whole point of that fucking thing.
Mhm.
But you compare that to like Sigourney Weaver and Alien or Aliens, either one, fucking pick, and you don't get like a sociopathic vibe
No.
from Sigourney Weaver, but you get the sociopathic vibe from Kimmy because it's like she's completely calm, not like maybe you can argue she's so traumatized, so shocked that she's like reached calm. But again, you have like she's done nothing. You've done nothing to build that. You've done nothing to show me that case.
Well, and you've not shown any humanity too, so that's why you get like this sociopath vibe because before that moment, you don't see much humanity from her at all, except for the guy that's bleeding on her couch, like.
And like she just
all she
does
did
a
was
little
ask
bit
him
of
his
like,
name.
hold this here.
Like, press this napkin against it.
He's so good. He's like, my name's Kevin, and then with a bloody hand, picks up like a thumb.
Nice to meet you,
Dude.
how did you know my name? I searched your address. What, bro?
Yeah, that opened up another can of worms there,
Spooky.
right?
I mean, I figured he was a spooky stalker to begin with.
So did I, but he just ends up being a guy that's, very concerned about her.
He's supposed to be the rear window
gonna-
type, I feel like.
He's gonna be he's gonna be the one who really kidnaps her and ties her up.
Yeah, exactly. He was just pissed that those guys got to her before him.
That's right. That's really what he was. He was on his way. I knew you were in trouble because you never leave the house. Like I need the house. Like no, I was leaving for you to leave the house so I could snatch your ass.
I can
That's
already see it.
right.
Kimmy too. Kevin.
That's right. The
Kevin
Kevin
Boogaloo.
Kevin
Yeah.
Boogaloo.
Let's make it. Fucking green light it. Let's
I'm
go.
down.
We get the back. We get the backstory for how Kevin became the neighbor. That's right. All right. Well, that pretty much rounds us out. Any final things you guys want to get to? We know that all the assassins die and she lives happily ever stupid.
I had more fun talking about this with you guys than watching.
Actually
the
did as
movie,
well. Yes,
so,
indeed.
yeah.
Any last thoughts, remarks, complaints?
I think I've said everything I need.
All right, sounds good.
Oh, I have one more.
Do it.
And it's a small little logical fallacy, but it's one of those things that like picks up, like makes you start to disbelieve the movie. And it's when she's listening to recordings of the girl, of I don't know, dead girl. I forget her actual name and her character's name.
Mhm.
She's starting to listen to them, and everyone begins with, them saying like "Kimmy, record" or something like that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But one of them, the one that breaks our main character, doesn't begin with that at all. You hear a knock at the door, and then she says begin record. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. There's something. Why are you you now you're telling me that it's always recording, and then it's breaking up the segments based off of either the algorithm or someone's telling you to begin record. But why would I hear the last 10 seconds? This is not like a fucking body cam where you see 30 seconds and then the sound kicks in.
Right. I think three things happened that made it very clear that they record all the time. That whole discussion about why she got killed. The fact that Brad thought it was a smart thing to give her one because he wanted to keep an eye on things. And while she was sitting in Chowdhury's office, it lit up on its own, which was showing that someone was accessing it somehow, trying to listen in on if she was talking to anybody or anything. And that was
what failed potential.
Oh,
honestly,
super!
Because that could have been a cool premise, but they just kind of that was half baked,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even need the first scene though. I didn't even need the whole Brad setup
We didn't
thing.
need the Brad story at all.
Mm-mm.
We could have not seen Brad from the beginning, got the whole story, still not actually met Brad and heard about Brad and just found out, oh well, Brad is this person. Oh snap. But we didn't have to see Brad.
Yeah, and if you want to like set up that sort of story, then you could just have her watching the actual interview on the TV while
Mhm.
she get ready for work or something.
Yeah.
And yet it achieves the same shit without telling us information that will build into the mystery of it all. Because like they killed the whole mystery in the first fucking what
Yeah.
2 minutes?
Oh yeah, you knew
Yeah.
what was up.
Mhm.
Yeah, no question. But again, I think that's where you realize some of these screenwriters and directors or producers, whomever, they're afraid of taking the risk of you not knowing what's going on early enough, and you're going to turn the fucking movie off. But guess what? That's the risk you run of making entertainment.
They're obsessed with pushing a certain narrative,
Hmm.
and they don't care about writing stories. And I mean, I'm not, that's really harsh for me to say. I think they do, but I think that sometimes when people have a very specific point that they're trying to convey, that trumps all narrative.
Yeah,
And it just becomes this thing where they have to kind of work everything around what they're trying to say. And
it's hard to break
sometimes,
away.
which is funny, it's ironic, right? Because the actual narrative in the story would tell your point 10 times better than you trying to tell your point by wrapping a narrative around it. You know,
And
like just let the narrative be.
And I
like
think an
don't
important
go
well, I
for
was
it.
going to add. I think an important part to add to that, what you just said, Nick, is I don't think we have a lot of great storytellers. We have a lot of moderate storytellers who have kind of just come in a full force. Like they have a lot that they have written, but it's not great, but it's done. Completed works.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are tons of great storytellers, and I just think that once we're having like a priori problem, right? So it's like these people come to an idea about what they want to say to the audience, and then instead of making a story that naturally, organically says that message, they say, "All right, how do we synthesize all of this stuff into the thing?" You know, and it just becomes a little bit less organic, a little bit less genuine, I think, right? Because like Mike said, you have Ridley from Aliens. That's an organic female character that ends up being a badass, ends up being the protagonist of the story, and it's not her. It's not like a contrived thing. It's organic to the story.
And
And
she
so,
overcomes a lot of shit too. Like she's I think like a trucker, and then at the end she's a badass. Like it's a big fucking arc to cut. I'm not saying
yeah,
truckers are badasses, but in the beginning she has nothing to do
she's not
with
fighting aliens at the beginning.
yeah, she's
Right?
not
Yeah.
fucking, you know.
Well,
And
consider
and like I guess like my final note on this thing is like it always pisses me off when a movie underestimates the intelligence of their audience.
Mm.
Well, that's this thing like where it's like yeah your themes your narratives like or your themes of the narrative that's what exactly they should be. It shouldn't be a fucking a message. And if you have
Mhm.
political theme, then the narrative will should express that organically rather than having to shove in all these different fucking themes to get a bunch of different political messages out.
Yeah,
Right?
for sure.
Like we can figure it out. We could have figured out the whole thing. By
Allegory is still okay, guys.
I mean, listen, how many Terminators did they come out with before people realized that the Terminator movies were about Sarah Connor and not the fucking robots?
Well, yeah. Only needed the second movie, so.
No, but it took most of us to get to Judgment Day to even realize it. You definitely didn't realize it in the first one.
Yeah,
You know?
because she grew as a character,
Right.
and that's cool,
So yeah, no, that's a yeah, you guys are absolutely right with this. So we will move on to ratings. I have no problem going first this week.
Yeah. He's like, I'm
Absolutely.
excited.
Yeah. I'm excited. Don't know about you guys. So yeah, as we get to it, we are starting our ratings for the Kimmy movie. Reviews are before the hour 14-minute mark. Just scroll back.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm gonna give this movie. I will say this. I think I'm giving this movie a higher rating than I expected to give it, even at the beginning before I watched it. So I'm gonna ride with what I initially rated it as soon as the movie ended, and not after I contemplated it. And I'm gonna give this movie a 5.
Yeah.
Oh, is it my turn?
Say again.
Is it?
Oh yeah, it could be your turn. Go for it, Big Mom.
Was there an explanation after the score? Or the score, everything was wrapped up.
Oh no, that's it. Yeah, I know. I typically will have a few, but no, that's it. That's really what it was. Is the movie finished, and I was like, what would I give this? And I was like, it's straight down the middle. Like, it's not too high, it's not too low. It's low, but it's not too low. And considering I wouldn't deter anyone from going to see it, but I also wouldn't tell them to expect too much. So straight down the middle, 5 for me.
Gotcha. For me, like I said, it was just in the beginning, like it was underwhelming. There's some enjoyable parts, some parts that made me laugh, intentionally made me laugh. Like the Romanian was hilarious, and then just coming from a software engineering background, some of the interactions made me laugh just because they got a little bit close to the untactfulness that some of us can have. But like for on the movie narratives, like or the movie scoring rubric thing itself, like the cinematography I didn't like at all. The story again underwhelming. Some like the acting and dialogue was like blah, or like it felt like they just pulled somebody off the street to do. They didn't do well. If you like kind of turned off your brain, you can enjoy some parts of it, and then other parts you'll be like checking your phone or like doing something else. So I'm gonna give it like a 4.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Sounds good to me. Yeah. This movie suffers from its own sort of vanity, I think. I don't think that it does anything particularly well. I think there's a handful of messages and stories that it's trying to tell you about. Part of it's a critique on sort of COVID, part of it's a critique on tech. Then you got a critique about, male and female power dynamics, and you have a critique about, whatever. It's just, but they're all really bad. And sorry, if you're not going to do one well, then don't do any of them, because you're just adding to this plate of like, I want to have a stance about this stuff, but I'm not going to give it actually any due credit. It's like if you had like a movie like Rain Man, and then they dumped a whole bunch of other perspectives in there,
right.
Like, no, Rain Man is about somebody on the spectrum,
right?
Like that's what
Period.
The movie is
Nothing
about.
Really
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like they didn't try to add, like the AIDS epidemic or stuff like that into that movie. So it's like, yeah, if you want to make a statement about something, choose the one thing you want to make a statement about, instead of having like 5 things that you're trying to like half-ass talk about. Acting, not so great. Cinematography, not so great. Music was hit and miss.
Good
not
music
much
selections, bad placement.
Bad placement of music. Very bad placement of music for sure.
Like when I'm sorry, you just part.
No, yeah, go ahead.
This thought in my brain. When the hitmen are running up to the door, and like she's like fumbling for her keys after she's like miraculously recovered from these drugs that
Right.
by like some Russian umbrella fucking weapon or
right.
I did like the umbrella though. The umbrella
is cool. Yeah.
But like she's fumbling for her keys, right, and exploding tension, and like the cuts are coming where like you see them like getting there and cutting closer on the keys, but there's no music,
right,
which does not build intensity at all. Like like I'm sitting there going like, where the fuck's like the driving sound or something to like
something.
Yeah, where's the tremolo of strings, like the like
something
like getting
to build
crazy.
that to crescendo that moment of her opening the door and closing it, and then the release of or the false release of being safe, because the master assassin
he's already in the house.
Yeah.
He's been in the house the whole time, but he has to be told that all of the files are on the laptop.
Right. You didn't figure that out yet.
Then he doesn't need to be told the password of the laptop. So he's been on the laptop already.
We have that already. What?
Files are in the computer.
Literally a desktop file called log files. How do we know? Because we watched her make it.
It should have been like super secret files.
super right, Mike super secret stuff.
Yeah.
That's
Or
pretty
you do
good.
like the decoy one where it says like just boring stuff, and
Yeah.
then that's where you put all your good stuff in. But yeah, so this movie is ridiculous. I just didn't really feel any of it. I'm hesitant to even give it a rating, to be honest. But if I had to,
do it.
I would say that like maybe the concept was potentially good in that if they went their direction of like her being mentally ill, I think that would have been much cooler, much more impactful. So it's getting a 1. It's getting a 1 for me. There's nothing that I really could tell you that I enjoyed in this movie. And really the 1 is just a pity because I know that there are probably people that worked on this film that did really good work, and like that's not their fault. But yeah, I can't give it any more than that.
While you were talking, Nick, I thought about what was the last 5 I gave, or lower than a 5. And it was the God Committee, which is better than this.
It is better than this, yeah.
So I am gonna do something that I don't think I've done in about 2 months or so. I'm gonna change my rating.
Okay.
And this has to lose an entire full point. I'm gonna go parallel with Mike. Because I gave the God Committee 4.5. Shoot. Yeah, no, it's way better than that than this. This is getting a 3.5. I'm changing it to a 3.5, fellas.
Got it.
3.5. Again, I don't think I dislike this movie as much as Nick. You said a 1 even, right, Nick?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think I'll dislike this as much as Nick, but I don't think I can appreciate as much of this movie as Mike. And the things that Mike, you say you're able to really that jump out at you, that give you more appreciation, are those niche things that you kind of have to be in the know of. So I couldn't really partake in those. So yeah, I definitely have to demote this because the God Committee at least made me like, yo, shit, what?
Yo, Kelsey Grammer is banging Julia Stiles. Yo,
that alone is more mind blowing. Like, damn, Kelsey Grammer, you got Julia Stiles to let you bang her in a movie. I know it didn't happen in real life, but on the film, we see her waking up staring at your naked body.
Yeah,
that was more suspenseful than most of this movie. Actually, I say all of this movie. I'm still trying to figure out how she got the nail gun to shoot so efficiently in this, though.
Not happening. Heading into a skull like that, you'd have to be point blank. Like maybe she was point blank range.
Yeah, for the guy up top, maybe. I think she could have been.
But then she was just shooting them willy nilly.
I like the blind fire, like she's in a video game, just like not even peeking.
Pew, 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 pew. She was hanging like 50 Cent from the top of the screen. But yeah, so that brings us to a 8.5 out of 30.
2.8.
Yeah, I was about to say, who even cares what that is on the scale? It's still higher than The Empty Man, surprisingly.
Yeah, which I think is kind of rude because I like The Empty Man better than this.
I think this might be right on par with The Empty Man. No, you know what? I don't think I know if I like The Empty Man better than this, but I like Paper Tigers better than this.
Oh, blasphemy.
You like Empty Man better than this. I think
I like Empty Man better than this. Yeah, and I think I like Empty Man better than Paper Tigers. I know that Empty Man is a bad movie. Paper Tigers doesn't try to be a bad movie. It's trying to be good.
You're right. I get what you mean. Empty Man
knows that it's not that great.
Yeah. So. I don't think we've even made that argument on here about The Empty Man, but it definitely knows it's not a great movie. I think we're going to see
a redemption arc for The Empty Man. I really do.
Only because there's original source material. I believe that could happen.
Like we might revisit in like a year, and Empty Man might be promoted from a 0 to.
It works for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Becomes one of those movies. I see. I see what's happening.
Hey man, they got to figure it out. There's nothing original out there, so they're definitely gonna revamp some shit that's flopped. Well, with that being said, this is our KIMI review. I don't know if you want to call it a flop, a drop, it's a drop in the water of the shit that's on HBO Max. Figure it out. But definitely, we appreciate you guys for tuning into the Screen Time Continuum on this Super Sunday. For those who are not aware, of why it is a Super Sunday, just go and find out what February 13th in Los Angeles was 2022. We appreciate you for coming through to the Screen Time Continuum. Please take the time to click the like button, click the subscribe button, click the follow button, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube. Also, head over to Facebook and YouTube and follow the Exofathom, which is a show that Mike, Nick, and Ayla host on Mondays at 8 p.m. Head on over to YouTube as well as Facebook and follow If Numbers Could Talk. Subscribe to all of these channels as well. Just make sure you get everything down. Write down the names I'm saying so you can follow them. So first we had Exofathom. That's Mondays at 8 p.m. Then on Tuesdays we have If Numbers Could Talk, also at 8 p.m. On Wednesdays and Sundays, we're right back here with you on Screen Time Continuum at 8:30 p.m. And then head on over to Twitch and YouTube also. Follow and subscribe to Strawberries and Coffee, where Dejan will be coming at you with impromptu and scheduled gaming views for different games that are coming out, games that have already come out, throwback games. Just check it out. It's always cool. I can't say I've ever opened his stream and not been entertained or at least interested in what the hell is this? So definitely, guys, we appreciate you all. When you're done doing all of that, hit up all of the different platforms. As you venture into our pages, you will see that we have ventured onto, I know the Exofathom is on about 5 other platforms as well, right, gentlemen, for audio and video, or just video?
Audio and video, yeah.
Yes, indeed. If Numbers Could Talk, the same. Couple of different audio platforms that you'll find that on. And we're just working to make more content for you guys, make it readily available to you. We have smartphones and all these different apps, so there's a lot of different ways we can get to you guys. We want to make sure that we are available for you in that respect. With all of that being said, thank you for tapping into the Screen Time Continuum. We will see you on Wednesdays and Sundays right here, 8:30 p.m. for the Screen Time Continuum. My name is Keelan.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Headphones.
We appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next time.
KIMI!